fiscal year 2023, the department investigated almost 1,000 cases with child labor violations involving almost 6,000 children nationwide, including over 500 children employed in violation of hazardous occupation standards.
We'll get to Boss Watch, where we take a look at, last week in Southern Labor, we take a look at what workers are up to in the South. Boss Watch, we take a look at what bosses are up to in the South. And folks, the spoiler is that it's bad. Bosses are up to bad things. In West Virginia, an investigation and litigation by the U.S. Department of Labor recovered $175,000 in back wages from a Charleston coal mining company that laid off 44 Matewan miners and denied them a final paycheck while filing for bankruptcy. The department's Wage and Hour Division learned Ben's Creek Operations West Virginia LLC informed the affected workers of the layoff on April 9th, and then filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy immediately after that. They filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy 5 days later, and then failed to issue the miners their last paycheck, as is required for the 2 weeks of work performed between March 31st and April 13th. During that time period, the division determined that the mine had produced about 40,000 tons. 40,000 tons, not 40,000 pounds, 40,000 tons of metallurgical coal worth more than $3 million. Payroll before profits is one of the key principles in the Fair Labor Standards Act. A bankruptcy filing does not excuse an employer's obligation to pay workers for all the hours that they worked or allow them to violate federal law, said Wage and Hour Division Director John Dumont in Pittsburgh. The Wage and Hour Division is committed to ensuring workers receive the highest protections to which they are entitled. So, on May the 2nd, 2024, the Department's Office of the Solicitor obtained a temporary restraining order in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of West Virginia to stop Ben's Creek Operations West Virginia from selling or moving the coal mined in its final 2 weeks of operation until they paid the back wages owed. Federal law prevents interstate shipments of goods produced in violation of the minimum wage, overtime, or child labor regulations, and applies to the employer and all those in possession of the goods. The court issued a final order on May the 10th that required the employer to pay all outstanding back wages, and then they did. So that's a really great story. $175,000 in back wages for 44 West Virginia miners. In Alabama, the U.S. Department of Labor filed a complaint on May the 30th asking a federal court to prevent 3 Alabama companies, including a Hyundai U.S. assembly and manufacturing plant, from employing children illegally. The complaint also requests that the court require the 3 companies to surrender profits related to the use of oppressive child labor. The action follows an investigation by the department's Wage and Hour Division that found that a 13-year-old worked up to 50 to 60 hours per week. 50 to 60 hours a week for a 13-year-old on an assembly line in Laverne, Alabama, operating machines that formed sheet metal into auto body parts. In the complaint filed in federal court, the department named 3 companies as defendants: Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama, Smart Alabama, and Best Practice Service. Best Practice Service sent the child to Smart Alabama, which provided component parts to Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama. In the complaint, the department alleged that all 3 companies jointly employed the child. The department went on to allege that between July 11th, 2021 and through February 1st, 2022, the companies willfully and repeatedly violated the child labor provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and the complaint further alleges that the companies violated the hot goods provision of the Fair Labor Standards Act. The department's Office of the Solicitor filed the complaint in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Alabama in Montgomery and seeks an order to stop the illegal employment of children. The complaint also requests an order requiring the companies to disgorge profits related to the use of child labor. Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama operates a manufacturing facility in Montgomery. At the time of the events at issue, Smart Alabama manufactured component parts at a facility in Laverne, and Best Practice was a staff agency. That's why they all 3 jointly employed this child. In fiscal year 2023, the department investigated almost 1,000 cases with child labor violations, involving almost 6,000 children nationwide, including over 500 children employed in violation of hazardous occupation standards. The department addressed those violations by assessing employers over $8 million in civil money penalties.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Wrapping up with a nationwide update on the Mine Safety and Health Administration, the U.S. Department of Labor announced that it had completed impact inspections at 15 mines in 11 states in April 2024, issuing 247 violations and 2 safeguards. An inspector issued safeguards due to site-specific standards at underground coal mines to address safety hazards related to transportation of miners and materials in haulage ways. The agency conducts these impact inspections at mines that merit increased agency attention and enforcement due to poor compliance history, previous accidents, injuries and illnesses, and other compliance concerns. In April, MSHA inspectors completed inspections at mines in Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, and Virginia and West Virginia, among other states. Of the 247 violations identified, the agency evaluated 67 were significant and substantial. The Foreman Quarry and plant operated by Ash Grove Cement Company 1 in Little River County, Arkansas, was among the mines selected for an impact inspection in April. MSHA chose the cement mine for an impact inspection due in part to a recent accident and an unplanned explosion in the alternative fuel storage area. Inspectors arrived at the mine on the morning of April 22nd and headed directly to predetermined areas of concern based on prior inspection history. The inspection resulted in a total of 50 citations at one company, 14 of which were designated as significant and substantial, including large rocks and debris being observed on the edge of the feed hopper for the reclaim belt. Miners were working in the area with no barricades or signage posted, exposing them to falling material hazards and potential crushing injuries. Another one was the non-functioning reverse-activated back alarms leading to violations. Other hazardous conditions found at the mine included mobile equipment defects, parking procedures not being followed, equipment guarding not being maintained, accumulation of combustible materials, improper chemical labeling, failing to maintain firefighting equipment, and multiple compressed air violations. Not good.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project. And you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.